Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another comic book review. Today we're looking at Superman, Volume 1 of Joshua Williamson's run on Superman. This is the Dawn of DC run, I guess you could call it. And the first book here is called SUPERCORP. This is the Target exclusive version. It's a hardcover, and it's really nice. I actually really like it. However, my understanding is that this is the only hardcover that they did for the series, and so if I want to collect the rest of the series and make it look good on my shelf, I need to go buy a normal trade paperback of this. So that means maybe I'll give this one away. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided what to do about that, but I do want to read more of it. So yeah, let's go over the book facts and then I will review this book pretty quickly for you guys. So author is Joshua Williamson. He's a very nice guy, and he does a really good job with this. I actually really like his Green Arrow run as well. And the artist here is Jamal Campbell, and I actually really like his artwork as well. He was really popular thanks to Far Sector. He became the Superman main artist for a while, and I think he lasted about 3.5 volumes or so, right? About 20-something issues, and or less than that, like 19, right? And with issue 20, it switched over to Dan Mora. So, you know, this guy is a very good artist. The publisher is, of course, DC. This is, I guess you could call this a YA title. I think most comic books are by definition YA. You know, some of them kind of delve into more adult things, but they rarely get anywhere with that, right? And honestly, the way that YA is published nowadays, it's basically just, you know, adult stuff anyway, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. But the genre is superhero, of course, and I guess there's some sort of elements of mystery to this one, but since it is a superhero comic, it includes a lot of other genres in it as well, right? So yeah, it does not have an adaptation. I don't think there would be any adaptation for this unless they did some sort of Dawn of DC set of animated movies, which would be pretty cool, but I don't think it's likely. And the ratings for this book is 5 out of 5 for me. I really enjoyed it. I think it's great. And I'm not going to give you a premise because it's just Superman stuff, with the kind of idea that Superman is now the leader of LexCorp because Lex gave it to him and he turned it into SUPERCORP. And now Superman has this like big conglomerate behind him, right? So he's a little bit like if Jeff Bezos gave his company like the funding that Amazon has to like a random fire department. That's kind of the idea, but you know, with the fact that it's a single guy that's really powerful, right? But there isn't too much like I can really explain. That isn't just explaining the plot, so I'll just leave it at that. Diving into the plot line here, this is full spoiler, so if you haven't read this or you want to wait for whatever reason, don't watch beyond this point. Skip over to the rating for my final kind of thoughts on this. So Superman starts this book by saving people from Livewire as he remembers his youth. Lex talks to him from prison. Of course, Superman can hear him from across the city because he has super hearing, and he like tunes into specific people all the time, and Lex happens to be one of them. It turns out that Lois is now the chief editor of the Planet after Perry White had a bit of an accident when he remembered that Superman was Clark Kent after something stupid that happened at the end of the last you know, big crossover event. And Lex has left LexCorp to Clark Kent, and now it's called SUPERCORP. And then Parasite has escaped prison. His powers have evolved, and so they infect everyone. And this is where the cover comes from that issue, which I think was issue 2 or 3. And he infects everyone. Superman has to figure out a way to beat him. He manages to do so, and he becomes a member of SUPERCORP. He works for them now, and in the background we get to see that there's these groups of villains that are gathering up. They're trying to attack Superman, but he's not actually their goal. He's more like the first obstacle before they get to Lex, which is pretty interesting stuff. Because of the Parasite stuff, before they manage to control him and get him to be part of the SUPERCORP company, Superman has to ask Livewire to help him because her powers can negate Parasite to an extent, and so they managed to do so together, and it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. We transition over to a new kind of storyline here, which is that Jimmy has a new girlfriend, and her name is Soihan, and she's actually the Silver Banshee. Now, I had to look up how to say this name because apparently it's a Irish name. And I've always thought that it was Soban, but apparently Soihan, or something similar to that. You know, if I said it wrong, sorry. And Silverband, she gets grabbed by these villains that we saw earlier. And then we get a bit of a Lex backstory when he started going, or when he moved to Metropolis and he started being a bit of a superhero character, and the difficulties that he ran across, and the fact that all of these villains that are in the background are actually trying to get him, not Superman. And then we get introduced to Marilyn Moonlight, who is awesome, like really, really awesome. I really like her character. She reminds me of like a cowboy version of Moon Knight that's a woman. And it's almost like if Moon Knight and Storm combined into a cowboy character. And it's really, really cool. I like her a lot. But she's not that important in this issue. She just gets introduced just to get a key issue out, I guess. And it's pretty cool. Superman has to fight Banshee, and Love wins out at the end. And there was a really awesome moment here where Jimmy runs across Superman. He jumps in front of Silver Banshee, and he's like, "No, she's my girlfriend. I love her." And then everyone's like, you know, face faults into the floor, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And I thought it was really funny. You know, if it was an anime, it'd be even funnier, but that's not the type of humor that they really work with here. But it was great. And so Love wins out, and Clark and Lois decide to go on a double date with Jimmy and Soihan, and it seems like they had a fun time, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cute. At the end of this issue, Lex gets stabbed while he's in prison, and then this is the end of the 5-issue run, right? So we get to see the annual that focuses on Lois, and it's forcing her writers, so the people that work for her now, to go out and chase new stories. Basically, everyone is pretty stagnant, which I guess makes sense because no one buys newspapers anymore. And so what she does is force them to go do things that are different from what they usually write. So Steve Lombard has to go do something else. She manages to get Livewire to become part of the team, and it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it. You know, it's not the best thing ever, but I like the focus on side characters. I think it's meaningful to develop the world around Superman. It's not just about Superman punching a guy hard enough. It's also about the characters that are around him, the love story that he has with Lois, the way that Jimmy has his own life as well, and I really enjoy that. I think it's really, really cool. So overall, this was a great story. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. I really liked it a lot. I think the plot was great. In terms of characters, we have Superman, Lois, Jimmy, Soihan, Lex, Mercy, who is a character I wasn't really familiar with. She basically ends up being Lex's secretary, but also right-hand man, basically. So if Lex is Iron Man, she's Pepper Potts, right, in that kind of concept. And in terms of bad guys, we have Dr. Graft, Dr. Farm, and a few other ones that I don't know the name of. And of course, Parasite was kind of the big bad villain for this first bit of storytelling here. So yeah, in terms of world building, we get LexCorp turns into SuperCorp. We get to see that Lois is now the editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet. And Lex's villains have gathered to battle Superman in order to get to Lex eventually, right? And overall, the greatest thing about this is definitely the artwork. There's some issues with the coloring here and there for my taste. And one small complaint that I have is that the way Jamal Campbell draws Superman is a bit too pretty for my taste. You know, he looks like a frat guy when I think he should look a bit more like a lumberjack, I guess. I'm not really sure how to explain it in like a way that makes sense, that isn't just me talking out of my ass. So I'm not gonna, you know, be able to say much about it, but that's a very small complaint here that I have. Some of it is also that there's pretty indistinct outlines sometimes, so I feel like sometimes you lose some of the edges of the characters, and that's technically not bad. I mean, I guess that would be realistic, right? You know, we don't have outlines in our bodies, right? Like we don't look like we're drawn and we have black outlines out of you know, everywhere. But I feel like because of Jamal's art style, sometimes characters kind of seem to fade into the background in a way that I don't particularly like. But these are pretty small complaints. I think overall the way he draws is awesome. It looks really, really nice. And I really, really enjoyed this book. So yeah, ratings, like I said, 5 out of 5. It's wonderful. There's basically nothing bad about this. The only complaints I have are pretty minimal and are very specific to me personally, and so they aren't really meaningful in terms of like talking points. So there really isn't too much else to say about that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.